Good morning, Modern Steaders.
Good morning.
Gotta head up to the off-grid property today. We're gonna be breaking ground for the tiny cabin in the woods project up there. First, we need to take care of all of our animals, and I will talk more about what we're gonna be doing up there. Once we get up there, I can explain it better.
We already have a cabin, but maybe a tiny home.
Maybe a tiny home. Come on in, Moose.
I just want to pick you up.
I don't think he'd be very cuddly.
You're in my pocket. Don't come very close. Come here. Come on.
Moose, breakfast is over here. You're missing out.
Good morning. You're always ready. Oh, good morning. You need to stand for a second. Caught it. I caught it. Show me where to put it. Do you want this? Where do you want it? Right there? Okay.
And listen to them birds. It's a good thing we got the gravel yesterday and got the road all graded off last night, because we have some heavy equipment coming in today. Right where I'm standing, we need to get these rocks moved. I might be thinking, why didn't you have the rocks moved before? We didn't have a game plan. And now we have a game plan going on of what we're going to be building here and how we're going to be laying out the homestead. This right here where I'm standing is where the house is going to be going. So we need to get these rocks moved and get the site work started so we can start building. We're not going to be building the house right now. We're going to be building a tiny house up on the property, back up in the corner up there where we live. We're up in the north, and we get some extreme winters. I mean, like -30, -40 below zero. Our winters can last anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So a lot of people, when they're going to build on raw land, they'll park a camper on it and they'll live in their camper while they're building. Well, living in a camper up here when it's 40 below, that isn't gonna work. We're not gonna have running water. It's gonna freeze up on us. So we're gonna build a tiny home so we can live in the tiny house up on the off-grid property while we're building the rest. And the other reason we're building a tiny house first is we're off-grid. There isn't power up here for miles, so to bring telephone poles up here would cost a fortune. It's more cost effective for us to do solar. So before we build the big house, I wanna have solar up here. So the tiny house is also going to be the place where we have our well. It's also going to be a place where we have all of our solar tied into. So it's going to be our powerhouse at the same time. So we're going to have, I think I hear the piece of equipment coming. So we're going to have the powerhouse connected to the tiny house, and we'll get that all going this year. And then when we start building our house, we'll have power up here. We'll have a place to live. We'll have a workshop all in one area. So when we're building the big house, we'll have everything all set to go. So we need to get the excavator back up here, get some of this moved. I have an excavator, but see how big these rocks are? These things are huge. There's no way my excavator's gonna be moving them. So we're gonna get the big excavator back in here today, get the bigger stuff moved that I can't do, and then we'll finish it up with the mini excavator. So I'm just minding my own business out here, marking some lines to see like the layouts of the foundation holes and stuff. And look at this footprint. What is it? Look at that thing. It's huge. There's 3. I don't know if that's a moose track or what, but man, there's something else over there. That thing's huge. We always see moose tracks around here. We personally haven't seen any moose yet, but that's gonna be one big moose. Can't wait to see him running around. Perfect timing, you hear that? They're coming. I was just marking some spots and getting the layout figured out. When you got a big, vast open area, it's kind of hard to figure out and measure everything out in your head. You gotta lay it all out in the ground and paint it on the ground. I feel like a kid coloring again. That is one big old stubborn rock. It still don't want to move yet. We'll get it. big one. It's one thing we know how to grow here. That's rock. Those are some big rocks. They're for sale. If anybody wants them, come get them. Bring a truck. We'll sell them to you. We'll haul them off. Does a nice job grading when he drags it. That's a bonus. Yeah, I don't think my little bobcat would want to move any of them rocks. They're bigger than the bobcat. All right, so while he's up there moving rocks around, I'm gonna get the mini excavator fired up and we're gonna dig our water line even further. I'm gonna go about 70 to 100 feet further that way. It's further downhill and it'll be interesting to see how much more water pressure we get. And that'll be the last hydrant that we put in on this line. The window open because it's hot out, but now I'm getting Well, I'm not too sure what happened there, but that's definitely not a straight line ditch. We got a little off. That should do it. That should give us about 70-ish feet right there from that hydrant to this one. And that's quite a bit of drop from here to there. So it'd be interesting to see how much more water pressure this hydrant gets. Let's go build all the little parts and pieces we're gonna need. Maybe we'll have time to get that installed today. I know we have a lot of different projects going on the off-grid property, but we're trying to do what we can do in between the rainstorms. This water line would have been done by now if it wasn't for all the rain. But man, I'll tell you what, it's been one storm after another. You just heard that thunder a little while ago. I'm hoping that, hold on, I'm going the wrong way. I'm hoping that we don't get a thunderstorm today. That would not be good. I'm looking forward to starting the tiny house build up here at the off-grid property. It's gonna be nice to have this going. Victory! It's a budget! Would you look at that? Says almost 50 feet is fine. So this is the general layout of the house when the main house gets built. We're not going to be working on that project right now, but we wanted to get the layout and where this is going to go and how this is going to be positioned on the lot. That way we know where to put our tiny house and which way we want it facing on the lot, so when this gets constructed everything looks pretty and looks like it's going in the same way. So we're going to have a nice view across over the road into the pasture of where all the animals are going to be. We got a nice mountain view, and then to the left where the excavator is, we'll have a deck over that way, and we'll have a nice view of that mountain range also. And our pond that'll be down there someday. So that is going to be the pad area that we need to dig out for the tiny house. We had to get this area marked out for the tiny house so that way when they come back to finish moving the big rocks, they can come over here and they can start leveling off an area for this. Then I'll do the rest of the mini excavator and bring in what we need for material to make a nice level pad for the concrete on. It's amazing how big some of these rocks are. Gina hasn't seen them since they moved them. They looked big before they got them out of the ground, but they're even bigger now that they're out. So those rocks right in front of you are the first ones that they had moved. Like I thought that one was big and that one was big, but this guy is huge. That thing is just huge. Even you standing next to it on camera doesn't show the size of it.
Well, I'm super tall, so.
This one's so heavy that it was moving the excavator when the excavator was trying to move it. And then you got this one, and then that one there, and then that one way down below. These two are big, but not as big as that one. It's crazy how big we can grow rocks up here, that's for sure. We can go back to finishing up our dock project now. He's not going to be back for a few more days to be able to finish up this area. So once he comes back to get over here, we'll bring you guys down here and show you how this whole progress is going. But we had to take a break from the dock so we could get this moved and situated. We've been having a lot of time into planning. We needed to plan the solar system here. We need to figure out where our house is going to go, because right now we don't want to build our big house, or the main house I guess we would call it, where we're going to move into later on, because with building materials right now they're super expensive. We want to get the power and everything up here. So this building is going to be our tiny house.
And then we'll transform it into something else. Well, we have something else in mind for after.
Yeah.
So it's not just a tiny house that we're going to build for no reason.
Right. So a lot of people, when they're moving to a raw piece of land, they'll bring a camper. with the climate that we live in, you can't live in a camper in the winter here. It gets extremely cold. It would not be comfortable. So this building is going to be, instead of investing in a camper, we're going to invest in this building because it's going to be an outdoor bathroom. It'll be our powerhouse for all the electrical services that we need with our solar system. And then we're going to have another area in it, and we'll share those details with you later on. And that's the main reason why we're building this building. So we're not adding any more expense on to anything. It's a building that we're going to need anyways, and it's actually the more affordable building to build right now with the way building materials are. So we're going to get this done, then we'll be able to move in up here and then start building the main house later on down the road. We also got to do a barn and outbuilding, so this will get us here. So once we're here, we can get the animals here, and then we can get all the other buildings going, and it'll be a lot easier to be building all the other buildings once we're living here.
Right, it'll be a lot easier.
Running back and forth right now takes up a lot of our time, so it'll be nice to have a little tiny house to live in and then get everything else situated, because we'll have a lot more time up here. And then nights, you know, when you just have a little bit of free time here and there, you can be out working. But when you don't live on the property, that free time, you can't be spending it here because it just doesn't work out as easy. So it'll be nice to be here, and this building is going to get us here the quickest.
Plus our main focus will just end up being here instead of
Right.
having the two.
When you have two properties, you have a lot of time and energy taking care of both of them. So we knew that going into this. So this is going to be the way to get us here the quickest, the most affordably way of doing it. So.
And we did think about a camper, but it wouldn't work.
We really do. We contemplated having a camper here, but I was like, man, when it's like 20 below zero, it's not going to be fun. We're going to be dealing with frozen water. Everything's going to be freezing up, and we're going to need a place to put power. If you have a camper, we don't have a place to put our solar system, so we're going to have to build a powerhouse anyways. We're going to want we need a well up here for well water, for drinking water. We're going to need a house then to contain our well, because a well can't be outside of the pump, and everything can't be outside because it's going to freeze. So you're going to need a well house, you're going to need a powerhouse, you're going to have to go buy a camper. So this is going to have all of that in one place, and then we'll be able to use it later on for what we're going to have for the big downstairs area of it. Upstairs is where our tiny house is going to be. So
one of our concerns was, what do we do with all the freezers? We need to have our freezers,
Right.
and so that should solve that situation as well.
we raise most of our own meat here in the homestead, so we have a lot of frozen chicken, a lot of frozen pork. So we need a place for all that stuff to go. So it's a lot of figuring things out when you're trying to build and bring everything with you that you want to have, and the conveniences that you're used to when you don't want to give them up. So this is going to get us there quicker. I hope we're not rambling too much, but it's kind of hard to explain it all without it happening. So subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and we'll be bringing you along and explaining more to you as we're going along, because once the pieces start falling in place, it'll make more sense. And a lot of it has to do with the climate you live in. We live in a northern climate, so we have winter for almost 6 months. You figure winter and mud season is 6 months out of the year. So living in a camper for that half of the year would not be fun. All I gotta say is thank goodness for hydraulics and heavy equipment. If it wasn't for all this equipment, we wouldn't be getting these rocks moved. And I'll tell you what, they were some big rocks, but it's nice to have most of them moved off of the Homestead site. Once the other ones are gone, I'll show you guys what it looks like afterwards. I won't show you any more of the equipment moving it. It gets a little redundant, I know, but I'm just trying to show the whole process of what it's taking to make this raw land into our homestead, because it's quite a bit of work that's going into it. It's going to be fun to be able to look back later on and see what it used to look like versus what it's going to look like in the future, if that makes sense. Thanks for coming along on our homesteading journey. You guys are a huge blessing to us in our homestead. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps. Share it, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you right back here in the next video. Bye.